What is up, you guys? Welcome back to the channel. Welcome back to another video. Today's video is going to be a little bit different. It's going to be more of a slideshow slash story time kind of video where I'm going to be going through the story of basically how I built my first ever E30. It wasn't my first E30 ever, but it was the first E30 I really built and put a lot of work and time into, and I think it's a pretty cool story, so I decided I wanted to share that with you guys. I know it's a little bit different because it's not a video, it's basically a compilation of all the pictures that I have gotten over the course of me building that car, and I think I have a few videos that I'll just throw in there as well. But yeah, before we get into the video, let's hear a quick word from our sponsor. Alright guys, now let's finally move on the story of how I built my first E30.
But yeah, starting off with the first few pictures, this is how the car actually looked when I first got it. These are technically the pictures from the auction itself. As you guys can tell, it wasn't even crashed or anything like that. This car actually came out of the auction with a clean title and not a salvage title. The car was in there because of a blown head gasket, I believe. And then this is the first day I got the car to my house. I was so excited because I couldn't wait to start this build. So I went right down to business. I figured out the head gasket was bad. Went ahead and took the head completely off. Keep in mind, I didn't know I was going to do a huge project on this car. I didn't know if I should take a lot of pictures, but these are just the pictures of what I got so far. And then I went ahead and painted the intake manifold and the valve cover a satin kind of black or flat black, and I shaved down like the BMW logos. The next thing I did to the car was all red taillights. I just used a red tint spray, and then here's the car with the taillights on there. Obviously you guys can tell the bumpers are off because I went ahead and took off those old metal bumpers and threw these plastic bumpers on. Plastic bumpers make a huge difference. In the next picture, I went ahead and smoked the headlights, repainted the grills, and threw a IS front lip on there, color matched to the car. I also color matched the side portions of the car and the rear valence of the car as well. The thing was starting to look like a car again. The only thing I needed to do now was to get rid of that wheel gap, and I did in the cheapest way possible. I went ahead and cut the springs, only because I was planning on upgrading later on anyway, so I cut the springs just to see what it looks like. If you guys can tell, I also went ahead and threw a chrome grill back on, an OEM chrome kidney grill back on, because honestly it matched these new Style 19 wheels that I had sitting around for a long time, which I went ahead and threw on there as well. Let me know what you guys think of the look. Here's a quick little before and after, and this was all within like a couple weeks. But what's funny is I thought the head gasket worked and everything was good until I drove it down the street to get these few pictures with my friend's E36, and then the head gasket completely blew and it started mixing oil and water, and I barely limped it back home. But we still managed to get a few cool shots. Andrew actually came through with these shots right here, which look really nice. And then I took these next two pictures. Even though the car didn't drive, I would just limp it around just to get some pictures. Alright, moving on to the fun stuff. In the next few weeks, I decided that I wanted to swap an M50 in there, which I picked up. I really don't even remember where I got the M50 from. And I also just hoarded a bunch of parts. I picked up some S50 cams and just a bunch of seals. I got some Turner Motorsport underdrive pulleys, headers, new flywheel, new clutch, Vanos, and the correct motor mounts for this 24 valve swap. So it was time to throw all those parts on the engine. Decided to pull the car in the backyard and start tearing it down so I can do this engine swap. I decided instead of just doing the engine swap, I wanted to shave the bay and do a wire tuck as well. This picture you can see the bay is all black is because I painted it with undercoating, which was a huge mistake. I should have never done this because I had to end up sanding it down and cleaning it anyway. But here's a few pictures of the process of me shaving the bay. Went ahead and welded up all those little holes that were there. These are just a bunch of random pictures, but I try to cover up as many holes as possible. I didn't use regular Bondo. I used this thing called all metal, which it's basically Bondo, but it has a bunch of metal inside, which I will never use again because it was one of the hardest things to sand in general. It took me so long just to sand that stuff down. At the end of it all, it didn't look that bad. This was me just testing out a shade of red with just a spray paint, just see how it'll look in the end. Here it is all primed in black. Then I went ahead and sanded the primer down and I shot down some paint, which was a huge mistake as well because I've never painted before. Using a spray gun and trying to paint came out horribly. So my friend Audemars came literally the next day because he's a professional painter and he knows how to do it. Here's a little selfie of me with the engine bay. Now keep in mind, I'm not painting the car this color. I just wanted to do the engine bay like a flashy color. That way when I pop the hood it stands out. But it didn't look too bad. And then we threw the M50 in there and we decided to start it up. Here's a cool little shot of it all said and done. A few more shots of the engine bay. I didn't tuck the main wiring harness of the engine just yet. That came later on. But let me know what you guys think of the engine bay. It looked pretty good. It was really clean, to be honest. And then this was me and the boys going out for the first drive ever with the M50 swap. And then Andrew came through with some more pictures. And then that green car that you guys see in the background is actually my friend Jack's E30 with the full MTEC 2 kit. Interior is completely done, S50 swapped, everything. That's the car that inspired me to get into E30s in general. But here's a few more shots of the E30. And then here is me during Christmas time. I wanted to do like a quick little burnout with the tree on the roof. I don't know why I did this, but hopefully you guys enjoy my weak ass burnout skills. Now that all that shenanigans is over, these were the two color samples that I got for the interior. I went ahead with the bottom sample. So I got the rear seat done. The front seats weren't done yet. Headliner all black. The headliner was in pretty good shape already, so I just sprayed it all black. Sprayed the complete carpet all black as well. Sprayed the rear deck lid all black. And then in that meantime, my brother went ahead and picked up an E36 M3. It was a crash E36 M3. So I decided to take the S50 out of it, like the good brother that I am, and decided to swap it into my E30. Picked up a red 46 skid plate. Decided to do a 5-lug swap as well at the same time. So cleaned up all the trailing arms and brakes. Got brand new coilovers from Street Edge, I believe. Put the car on jack stands. And I don't really have pictures of me pulling the engine out and putting it back in. But this is the car after the S50 swap and the 5-lug swap at the same time. I threw some Style 5s that I had on there. You guys can probably spot the E36 M3 Vader seat that's in the driver's seat. That's the seat I used while my seats were getting redone. And I took some pictures, which ended up being some of my favorite pictures in general. Car was looking really nice here. Decided to paint the faces of the Style 5s like a candy apple kind of red. Polished the lips. And here is what they looked like off the car. Threw some brand new tires on there and slapped it onto the car, which looks so good in my opinion. I like taking the hood off, as you guys can tell, just so I can flaunt my red engine bay. Red interior, red wheels. In the meantime, my friend Armand actually picked up some saw blades for his E36 M3, and I wanted to try them on for a few days, so we went ahead and threw those on. The fitment was really nice. Such perfect fitment. Just check it out from that backside. Here is the interior all done. Front seats were finally done. And then here's a few embarrassing clips trying to drift the E30. After those horrible drifting attempts, got some pictures of the car. Those pictures were actually some of my favorite pictures of the car. Decided to throw some paint matched IS side skirts on the car as well, which really brings it together. I don't know why I paint matched the valve cover and everything else here. And then it was finally time to start the bodywork on this car, because the car did have a lot of dents and the paint wasn't good, so I figured the car needed a full paint job. So I stripped everything down. I wanted to redo the engine bay as well, so redid the engine bay. Got the car all sanded down, dents all fixed up. Here's a few pictures just showing that process. We got Armand over here priming the car down. Entire car got primed, then sanded. And then the engine bay got redone as well. Went ahead and got the wiring all cleaned up through a E30 M3 wiring harness cover, and that just tidied up the engine bay so good. In the process of getting the car all sanded and primed, I went ahead and picked up some work VSXs, I believe. I completely forgot the name of these wheels, but picked these up, threw them on the car. Fitment was pretty nice, no spacers needed. It was pretty flush fitment. Then I redid those in that candy apple red color as well, and I went ahead and polished the lips. So those just chilled at home until the car was sanded and finally painted. Here's some pics of it getting painted, some pics out of the booth. Went ahead and threw some random wheels on the car, that way the other wheels don't get messed up. And here's a clip of the color itself. It wasn't the original E30 Alpine White, it was actually a Lexus Pearl White. I forgot the exact color, but hopefully you guys can see that on camera. And I didn't waste any time getting the car back together, threw the bumper on, threw the front lip on, started throwing as many pieces as I can onto the car. Threw my Style 19s on for now, and the car was finally looking good again. I also went ahead and tinted the windows because where I live, it's way too hot. And I finally decided to throw the work wheels on. I wasn't too happy with the front fitment of the wheels. I feel like it needed a bigger lip. It just looked a little off. Here's a few nice pictures that my friend Sam took of the car. These are probably the best pictures I have of the car in general. Quick little engine bay picture. As you guys can tell, I painted the valve cover black in this picture. It wasn't white anymore and didn't look too tacky. After all that was said and done, I decided I wanted to sell the car. Now, I don't know why I decided to sell the car. Prices for E30s weren't really high at the time. I put the car for sale for $15,000 at the time, which was in 2015 or 2016. These were the pictures that I took. Horrible pictures, to be honest. I even put it back on those stock DS1 wheels, but these pictures were just horrible compared to what I can do today. Man, I don't even know how I sold this car. While I had it posted for sale, this happened. I got the car impounded for racing my friend. Such a stupid mistake because the car was impounded for 30 days and I had to pay a lot of money to get this damn thing out. I was kind of being an asshole to this tow truck driver, thinking he can't get it on there, even though I knew I can just take the lip off and he can get it on there pretty easily, which I ended up doing either way. But yeah, I got the car out of impound, and some lady from Montana decides to buy my car. She hits me up, says, meet me in Reno, Nevada, and I will buy the car. She leaves me a deposit. Me and my brother drive out to Reno, Nevada, all the way from Fresno, California, which is like a 6-7 hour drive. We're still sketched out because it's a lady. She's in like her late 30s. I don't know if I should trust her, but she did leave us a deposit. So we met her at the bank here. Here's the last picture I got of the car while it's parked at the Wells Fargo in Reno, Nevada. This lady didn't even know whether the car was a 5-speed or a 6-speed, but she drove it all the way back to Montana from Reno, and it made it there perfectly. Now, I don't know what happened to that car ever since. I tried texting her to see if maybe I can get some pictures or something, see what happened to that car, but no response. Everyone told me I would never sell this car for the price I posted it for, but I literally sold it for $15,000. The same exact price I posted it for, she paid me, and all of that money went towards this beauty right here, which I picked up a few months later, which was my dream car at the time. It was a Melbourne Red E92 M3 6-speed manual with 50,000 miles. But this happened 3 months later. My brother ended up driving it, getting into a car accident. Not much to tell there, but I'm glad he made it out alive. As you can tell, it was a pretty bad accident. I won't go into details, but my upgrade after this E92 M3 was this beauty right here, little Geo Metro. This was my baby, my pizza delivery car.
Alright guys, that is the story of how I built my first E30. I hope you guys enjoyed it. I know it's a little bit of a different type of video than what you guys are used to, but hopefully you guys enjoyed it. And if you did, make sure you hit that like button, hit that subscribe button down below, and I will see you guys in the next one. Peace.